This episode of Rolled Up is brought to you by Take Care, Fakai Share Jiu-Jitsu, Gentle Care Dental Association, Albino and Preto, Control Industries, DSI Dental Services, and Kaizen Athletic. I'm an avid traveler, co-founder of BudoVideos.com, Jiu-Jitsu black belt, and lifelong student of the martial arts, who strives to know more about the competitors and instructors who are revolutionizing the Jiu-Jitsu lifestyle. Join me in my journey as I travel, train, learn, and get rolled up. 4 years ago, I was introduced to the small Pacific island of Guam. What I found here was a people and a culture that completely embraced the Jiu-Jitsu lifestyle. Although far from the source, the island's rich history and struggles brings a unique perspective to the BJJ here, and the result is the perfect balance of great Jiu-Jitsu and paradise. The island of Guam arguably has the highest rate per capita of Jiu-Jitsu practitioners in the world. And the man leading the charge to keep BJJ alive is my good friend and Purebred Guam Chief Instructor, Steve Roberto. So Steve, tell me about the beginnings of your Jiu-Jitsu journey.
I was never into martial arts. I had wrongly thought that I would never get myself into any kind of altercation, street or otherwise. I thought I could always talk my way out of a fight. And one of my really good friends, Ruben de la Cruz, who's been a lifelong martial artist, he was into all kinds of martial arts, always ready to look for a fight, you know, because he just loved watching the art of the fight. And he was into Aikido and Kempo, a whole bunch of other arts. He had come back home one day and he had a video, a Brothers in Action video. And he's like, you got to watch this, you got to see this. And he had played it, and you see the Gracie brothers, fighting against these other martial arts styles. And even then I didn't know what I was looking at. I was like, what am I looking at? I don't get it. It's like the guy hugs him and they fall to the ground and then it stops. I didn't fathom, I couldn't understand what was happening. And I would say 6 months had gone by before I had even thought of doing jiu-jitsu. And so Roman, along with another friend of mine, John Calvo, had already been into it for months. And they had kept asking me, hey, we got to go train, we got to try this out. And I finally gave in one day, and I went to try it out, and I was so amazed at how I felt like I had been living a lie. I thought that I was ignorant about it, about innocent thinking about fighting and combat and altercations, and I had just felt very empowered at that point, and I wanted more of it. I felt very hungry to learn more of that, and that's how I got introduced to jiu-jitsu. In fact, the guy that was teaching me at the time is a black belt now, Gracie Baja black belt, Dan O'Connor, and so essentially he was like my first instructor.
Was there a particular position that you were put in that maybe you felt helpless, that really motivated you to want to continue your training, or was it just the overall experience?
I think the overall experience combined with the fact that was like the beginning days of jiu-jitsu on Guam, and a lot of people were getting involved in it, but it wasn't something that everyone could just get involved in. At the time, the instructor was very careful about who he was teaching. He didn't want to just give these things to people that weren't responsible. And I think also at the time, you had to have been kind of like a tough guy to want to know how to fight, and so I think jiu-jitsu wasn't so free and open like how it is now. It was very selective in a sense, where you had to really want to learn how to defend yourself to get involved in jiu-jitsu. So I think
you couldn't just go on YouTube and learn techniques either.
You couldn't just go on YouTube and learn techniques. You had to find someone who knew what they were. You couldn't fake that you knew jiu-jitsu. You really had to know it. And and you have to go through a thought process in your head and your heart to see, man, is this really something I want to do? And I liked that. I liked the challenge that posed. So yeah, the first over experience and then understanding that challenge in my head.
Right. The people on Guam in general are very passionate about Jiu-Jitsu. There's lots of academies, backyard academies too. Why do you think Jiu-Jitsu has flourished so much in this small island?
Earlier we talked about like just the overall history of Guam and how, Guam is kind of just left out here to fend for itself. And it's been through a lot of struggle. It's been through a lot of, ups and downs in its history. So I think that's helped to kind of give people that attitude that you're going to have to get tough and learn how to quickly take care of yourself. And Jiu-Jitsu does that for you. It really gives you that reality that I have to be accountable for myself in so many ways if I want to be good in Jiu-Jitsu. And of course, Jiu-Jitsu translates into life. So people become very passionate about that because, especially we're so far away, we want to overachieve and really represent like our ancestral pride or our cultural pride. And I think we've talked about this before. The public gets behind Jiu-Jitsu on Guam. And when you do that, because Jiu-Jitsu is already so hard as it is on its own, it's almost near impossible without support. So when you have a lot of support, you can get a lot of Jiu-Jitsu done.
Mm-hmm. Are you happy with the mark Guam is leaving on the Jiu-Jitsu world? There's a lot of great competitors from here, great academies, brands like Shoei Roll that have all come from this small island.
Yeah, Guam makes an impact for sure because it doesn't even matter like what academy you represent from the island. They just automatically assume that you're a Guam guy. They just put us all in the same, well, it's a Guam guy, oh, he's a Guam guy, oh, he's a guy from Guam. So anytime that I see the island represented in a positive light, that's good. And then you have Jiu-Jitsu attached to it, even better.
Mm-hmm. What are your thoughts towards the future of Guam as it relates to Jiu-Jitsu?
I think Jiu-Jitsu on Guam will make a big momentum if we continue to like push for that Olympic bid. And then, because Guam does, Guam's big about Olympic sports. They put a lot of sponsorship and a lot of coverage and a lot of support towards our Olympian athletes. And so I think Guam needs to or Jiu-Jitsu on Guam needs to cross that barrier just to get that extra, legitimacy. Mm-hmm. And then we can get more support and start to do more with Jiu-Jitsu on that level.
Mm-hmm. I mean, you guys are already doing great work with the Marianas Open. This year is the 17th edition of it, and that'll most likely continue to grow. Do you think that will continue to attract bigger and bigger names?
Yeah, definitely. I think the Marianas Open did a really good job with promoting amateur Jiu-Jitsu. And I don't mean to say that in a bad sense, just Jiu-Jitsu where money's not involved. And then now you've got, like all these new events coming out that promote professional Jiu-Jitsu where there's some more things at stake. So, I mean, who doesn't like to watch a fight, right? And then you've got like the freakazoids coming and the, the best guys. And so that appreciation for that, when guys come here and they have a good time, you won't hear too many complaints. They're going to want to come back to a quality event, to a nice island, to a good hospitality. So it's a win-win for everybody.
Yeah.
The all-new Budo Videos app brings the world of Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu to your fingertips. Download all the latest instructionals from the best and brightest in the sport. Exclusive downloadable content not available anywhere else, and early access to big sales on BudoVideos.com. The Budo Videos app, now available for free in the App Store.
Steve, you have this beautiful new academy with brand new mats. What prompted the move into this newer, bigger academy?
Well, right now Guam's going through a big growth, a big change. There's a lot of people moving to Guam with the federal government and the Marine Corps, with the realignment of the bases in the Pacific, like in Australia and Okinawa. So Guam is it's starting to see growth in the infrastructure and in the amount of people coming to Guam. So where my original academy was located up in Derido, we were experiencing a lot of traffic issues. And you know how it is, like if people come late, they just don't even want to come to class. So seeing how that was affecting the business, it made good sense to start looking for another place. I got a good relationship with the landlord. He likes having us here, and I have such a good crew of students that they deserve a really nice place. They'll train anywhere. They'll train in a swamp. They'll train in the ghetto. But to have a nice place to train, they deserve it. And you see it when they train. They're very happy as to having a really nice environment to train in. So,
speaking of nice environment, the kids class really impressed me. You got tons of kids in here, and what's your rationale behind having such a big kids class?
With the kids, I'm sure just like in the mainland United States, bullying is a problem in school, and you have to take a proactive approach to bullying. If you think that the school is going to do something about bullying, you're sadly mistaken. They're not going to do anything about it. So you have to take a proactive approach and put your kids in things that are going to make them confident and not targets for bullies. We really focus on getting that message out there, and like I said, on Guam, the public is very, very quick to support anything positive. So when they see the adults doing well, hey, I want my son or my daughter or my niece or nephew in there too. The work that we do, we're not going to see the fruition of it. So we just got to set a good example for others to follow, and it starts with those kids.
There's a wide range of teaching styles in Jiu-Jitsu. Some of them are very laid back and casual and very fun. Some are super strict, and they might have just a core group of 10 really tough guys that don't really appeal to new guys. How do you find that balance?
I like training hard. I can appreciate the grind, and I think everyone that is, that calls himself a true jiu-jitsu player understands that, where you feel like you're going to just die or throw up or pass out, but you just kind of push yourself a little bit. So I like that grind. But at the same time, I want jiu-jitsu to be fun for the students, because if it's not fun, you're not going to come anymore. There's so many other things you could be doing that are not as difficult. So you have to make jiu-jitsu fun. You have to show them that you're having fun as well, and that, to me, that's what creates the balance, is between the grind and the fun.
Is it easy to find that balance?
With a crew like this, yes.
So besides this academy, where else are you teaching on the island?
Right now, we're working with the MWR, with the Anderson Air Force Base and U.S. Naval Station Guam. So we provide services for the active duty servicemen and the federal employees on their military installations. So we've got some great facilities on base. And at the same time, we encourage those guys that are, kind of a little bit shy to come out on base. This is a good way to intermingle with the locals, and then we slowly get them out little by little, hanging out with us and training with us. So it's a good way to just spread jiu-jitsu throughout the island. If you know anything about Guam, a lot of it is military based, north and south. So we have to cohabitate with the military the best that we can. They're here protecting us and doing good things for our community, and we give back through jiu-jitsu.
So Steve, what have you been working on lately? Lately I've been working on a lot of De La Riva Lasso setups, only because it seems to just work well for my game, and I was inspired by a lot of it through training with Bruno Fizzato.
Nice. All right, let's see.
Okay, so I like to set up the lasso guard, foot on the hip, look for the De La Riva, and start to just get a regular grip. The key to getting you on the floor is to get my knees to pinch. So I want to kind of like make a knee sandwich with your knee in the middle and my knees on the outside. I'm going to torque you all the way to the right. And as guys resist, they want to come back up with an underhook. So I like to start to hit the omoplata from this position, bring it back down, start to work from my finish. Again, one more time, foot on the hip for separation. Look for the lasso, get it high and tight. Start to hit the De La Riva with my leg behind the back and just get a regular grip. I'm gonna look for my knee sandwich and torque you all the way down. As guys start to come back up, I wanna hunt for that omoplata
as you come up top, and try to finish with good pressure. One more time. Another variation I like to do is if some guys resist a little bit more and they don't get tilted all the way over. So I'll set up the lasso de la Hiva again. Make sure I get a regular grip. The focus to get you tilted is the knee sandwich. So I'm going to hit you with the knee sandwich. But guys want to come back up. So as they come back up and they come back hard, I look for this X guard variation. And get the sweep. Again, look for the lasso. Really go hard and make it think that they want to get that first initial sweep. And as they start to come up, put good pressure when you finish. And another one that works well for me is to combine the sweep with the footlock. It's like a curb breaker footlock.
The curb breaker.
Curb breaker, yeah. So I'll look for the lasso, switch to de la Hiva. Doesn't matter if they're on their feet or on their knees. Get a regular grip. Get that knee sandwich going. As guys start to come up, look for the same position where you get to the X guard. Get the sweep, but as I come over the top, I want to focus on a grip switch. Lots of hip pressure. And if you look at the leg, it's like a curb. It's a 2x4 on a curb.
Yeah, there's a lot of leverage with that.
Yeah, it's nasty. For the lasso, insert the de la Hiva guard. Regular grip, knee sandwich. As they start coming up, switch to my X guard variation. And as I go over the top, I'll make a grip switch. Lots of pressure in the hips. One more time. Curb breaker. Anson was the first guy that really took time out of his life to share jiu-jitsu with me and with the rest of the guys on the island.
What did you think when he told you that he wanted to pursue a life in jiu-jitsu?
I told him, I said, why can't you take something tamer like ping pong or tennis?